Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jack Woods, also known as Woods Media down below. So yeah, today's video is inspired because I ordered two of these. Well, they come in a pack of two. They're the Ambientful A2 Plus. So they're quite large. They're two tube lights. This one here, and then I've got one just up there behind me. So I wanted to not really challenge myself, but just sort of think, what could I do creatively with just using two lights? So throughout this video, I do 5 different sort of scenes, I suppose, and just trying out 2 different color contrasts for each shot. So I'll tell you a wee bit about the lights anyway. So this is not sponsored by any means. You've probably seen similar lights I've used on previous videos. So these are the other ones that I have, I suppose. They're the Ambient A2 Pros. So I think these are 60 centimeters. And then of course, these ones are, I believe, 120 or 90. These are 90. So I believe these are 90 centimeters. Then you have, of course, the 60 centimeter ones. And then I do have the 30 ones. They're away in my camera bag, but this is the A2 Pro. And then this is the A2 Plus. So quite a big difference, to be fair. So again, like I ordered these the other day off Amazon on the spring sale, and I just sort of thought to myself, what could I do creatively just using 2 lights? So yeah, throughout the video, I'll do 5 different scenes using 2 color contrasts, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy. I'll not take any more of your time, but I do want to apologize, obviously, just before you go. I haven't uploaded in quite some time. It's just, I've been really busy with life, I suppose. Not complaining, I'd much rather be busy than sort of sitting bored, so always very grateful, of course, but thanks for watching anyway. So hopefully you learned something new from it, hopefully you enjoy it, and yeah, we'll get stuck in anyway. I'll see you in the next one. So what I've done for this shot then is I've used this like sickly yellowy green color, and I've paired it nicely with like a more sort of reddy orange then to give it really those 2 different contrasts. So first of all, I've got my Ambientful A2 Plus tube light. The settings I've got it sitting at is 20% brightness, 66 degrees, and I've got no sort of diffusion or anything like that. That just sits up there nicely, and then it looks like almost like a wee top-down angle, like, you know, a tube light you might have in your ceiling already. The second light is the exact same. It's the Ambientful A2 Plus, but I've got it sitting on, let me see, 2 seconds. I've got it sitting at 7% and it's 39 degrees on the color wheel. So again, it gives it that nice orange. And I just have it coming in that back room there, bouncing off the door. And just to make it, you know, feel like it's sort of either a lamp post outside, or perhaps maybe there's a light on in there, like a lamp or, you know, an overhead light. Settings wise on the camera, so I'm sitting at 1.8, my ISO is 1000, 1/50 shutter. For white balance, I'm sitting at 4500. So yeah, nothing too complicated, nothing too special. And then of course, anything cinematic needs to have smoke or fog, whatever you want to say. So I give that a wee splash, let it sort of just disperse. And then what that does is just obviously make the light that wee bit more softer. The only thing I probably would change if I put more time into this is if you can see the orange is reflecting off looks like the cylinder in there. Ideally I would have it outside, but it's raining today, so I just have it in the room next to me. But to make it a wee bit more realistic of that lamppost outside look, I would have the light sitting literally outside, coming in through the window, which would then disperse it and create natural shadows as if it was actually a lamppost outside. But it's not, it's absolutely lashing down, so I've just got it sitting in there next door. It's just sitting on a fridge. And yeah, so that's shot number 1. And for this shot then, same again, of course, 2 lights. So one overhead here. So this time I've gone a wee bit different. So instead of going with like the degrees of color on a wheel, what I've done is for that light up there, it's sitting at about 3200 Kelvin, only sitting at about a percentage of 12 for brightness. I have a light outside giving you that nice sort of like moonlight effect. It's sitting at a higher 8500 Kelvin, much brighter as well. It's sitting at 70%. One thing I will say with the light out there though is if you are recreating this, definitely need some sort of diffusion. So you can see here, if I can point to it there, it's quite harsh because the light source is actually really close to the window there. So in reality, what you would want to do is put it on a high C-stand, having it coming down at an angle rather than I've got it pointed almost like directly at the windows. So yeah, and then obviously putting a wee bit of layer of diffusion on it just really will help soften it, I suppose. So yeah, settings wise on the camera then, so to create this sort of like cold and warm light situation, obviously I've got the lights naturally set to it, but what I've got is my white balance sitting at 2900 Kelvin, and then my ISO just setting at 800, my aperture then 1.8, and then shutter just 1/50th. So yeah, I thought it was alright, turned out okay. I like the way this top light is, because it acts like almost like as if you had like, you know, a house light on in a sort of scenario. Obviously that just brightens the whole room. But what I've done with this light as well is I've slightly pushed it back on the shelf up here so that it's cutting like half the light source out. So again, it just gives it a wee bit more of a directional perspective rather than just brightening the whole room. So yeah. So yeah, for this shot then, I've got my tube light just up there acting like a key light. It's on 171 degrees on the color wheel. It's only 2% brightness. I have a grid on it as well, just to limit the sort of amount of spell, I suppose, that you're going to get. It's even with the grid on, I'm still getting a fair bit on the sofa here, you can see, and then a wee bit on the blinds as well. So really, all you can do is probably get a smaller light source, or I'm sure, of course, just bringing in more black negative and stuff like that just to kind of cut out. I suppose what you could also do, actually just thinking about it now, is I've done this before. I think I mentioned it on a previous video. You could probably actually tape up, you know, put black gaffer tape over the tube light itself and make it a smaller light source, I suppose. So yeah, I probably should have done that, actually, just thinking about it. You live and you learn, I suppose. And then just on this red color, I've got a tube light sitting on the windowsill here. It's sitting at, I think, about 5% or 5 degrees on the color wheel. Light percentage wise, it's I think it's about 13% brightness. So nothing, you know, major. You know, a lot of people sort of think you need, you know, all these massive bright lights. You know, the most expensive ones. You know, like 600 watt or 1200 watt and things like that. And yes, obviously it depends on what, well, I suppose what you're filming, what size of space you're trying to fill, I suppose. But see, when you're just doing wee things at home like this, all you need is a couple of tube lights and you can almost just recreate anything, really. Ideally, you would love to have 3, so you can have like your key light, a hair light, and then some like practicals or something like that. But you could easily get away with just the 2 tube lights that I've got here. So I think they're really good. Settings wise, so I'm just looking at my iPad here. So I'm setting at 1.8 aperture, 800 ISO, 1/50 shutter, and then and my white balance then is setting at 4000 Kelvin. So yeah, nothing too crazy. I think I say that every time, nothing too crazy, but yeah. So for shot number 4, sticking with the same theme, 2 lights. So on this occasion, I've gone for more of a what would you say, like a mint green, I suppose, and then a bright pink. So starting with the light here on my left, so it's acting like almost like a sort of a hair light. It's basically just separating me from the pink key light. So on the left side, I've got it set at 165 degrees on the color wheel, and it's only sitting at about 4% brightness. Don't need an awful lot. You just want a wee bit just to kind of give you that nice edge on the side of the face. For the first light then, or the key light, I suppose, it's the pink color I've gone with. I think it's 316 degrees on the color wheel, and it's sitting at a wee bit brighter. It's sitting at about 12%. So yeah, that's the 2 colors, or 2 lights, I suppose. In terms of settings, I've gone with a 1.8 aperture. It's sitting at 1000 ISO. Shutter is 1/50th, and then white balance again is 4500 kelvins. And my exposure is sitting at 0.7 plus, which is alright. Ideally you want it about 1.7, 1.3, but I'm quite happy with that anyway. So yeah, that's shot number 4. Shot number 5 here then, so just went with a sort of typical editing at my desk situation. So again, only 2 lights, so I've got one tube light up there acting like a key light almost. So with the tube light up there acting like a key light, I've got it sitting at 79 degrees on the color wheel. It's sitting at about 6% brightness. The one behind me then you can see is giving that nice contrast with the pink. It's sitting at about 316 degrees on the color wheel, and it's only sitting at about 7% for brightness as well. So now the monitor itself is giving me a wee bit of light on my face. What you could do ideally to sort of cut that out is either turn the brightness down on the monitor. If you wanted to bring in a wee bit more contrast or shadow on the face, what you could also do is sit right here, just out of frame, like a black negative, like either a black sheet or just something that's dark that's going to sort of take some of the light out of the shot. So yeah, that's nothing too crazy. We've got our sort of green and pink here, and yeah, thought it turned out alright.